We said.
That's
Tim, to Juma, what's the ruling on moving around before the imam finished speaking?
What you mean?
Like someone, just someone saying like move up, move down, or
Right. Question is, with regards to moving before the imam is finished speaking on the day of Jumu'ah, such as move up. You know he was repeating. Repeating Abu Sa'id. That's crystal clear. What's the rule of Abu Sa'id? To first and foremost, before we get into moving, for him to sit in a chair. And to get up and walk around, or maybe sometimes, maybe not even pray Jumu'ah with the Muslims. As we've witnessed a few times. At the end of the day, all jokes aside.
or whether that's what the camera.
No, we're not refuting the cameraman right now. It's only on what?
I will say.
I will say it. Perhaps he's listening. But I'm him, all jokes aside. If you have to move out of necessity, not best. But the concept of security in the masjid, keeping the people safe, not only is that an obligation, but that's a virtue. So with regards to him or any other brother or sister who's on post for security, may Allah reward them well. That's a good deed. It's an obligation to keep the Muslims safe, okay? And there has to be someone who is aware and watching and vigilant. And if the situation isn't regulated, it can easily get what? Out of hand. People start doing this, doing whatever they want to do. So if you have to move, telling people to move up, or you can't go up the steps, women are there, or the wudu place is there, or they have to actually stand on guard while the other Muslims are praying, and inshallah is what? Nothing wrong with that. Being in the lab, rather, not only is there nothing wrong with it, but it may be what? Obligatory. Because that's obligatory to preserve the safety of the what? Of the Muslims. Wallahu a'lam.
So my question pertains to, changing the way people think about going about like seeking knowledge and issues of the deen. Like how do we, like tangible advice, how do we become like a people of action instead of overly asking? So for instance, some people ask for like, constant advice, but if you look back, they got the advice years ago and who's implemented it? So it's like, if people had implemented the first advice, they wouldn't, be overly, inquisitive, which kind of leads to procrastination and leads to nobody getting anything done. So it's like you got advice 5 years ago or a year ago, and you still haven't implemented that. So how do we kind of change that kind of way of thinking and say, you know what, I got one piece of advice, I'm going to stick to this, I'm going to do it, and then as things go along, if I'm completing that task, I can look for the next thing instead of overly jumping from one thing to the next.
Right. Question is from AQ, Jamaica, New York. With regards to how do we become practical from all of the advices that we ask about, and not just being over hypothetical and theoretical and ask a question and answer it, and not implementing anything, not doing anything, not putting it into action. How do we take one piece of advice and build upon it and actually start structuring and learning and benefiting? I think that before you get into the actual questioner, the problem lies in the one being asked the question. The teacher, the sheikh, the imam, the speaker, is his fault or her fault. If you see that people are not implementing your advice, they're not taking your advice, they're not listening, they're not reviewing, stop teaching them. Or stop giving them personal time and attention. You no longer deserve this anymore because you haven't implemented what I told you 5 years ago. And we've explained this before, with Khatib al-Baghdadi rahimahullah and others mentioned, some of the ulama, they would refuse to give tahdith to a student of hadith if he didn't review, he had previously given them. If he couldn't repeat the isnad and the hadith from before, he wouldn't teach him anything else. A year later or 6 months later, because you're wasting my time. And it's clear that you don't want to implement anything. You just want to keep asking. And many of us, only Allah knows what's in the hearts of the people, but it's just oftentimes people, they ask certain questions, or they want certain things, or they request certain things, they're not even doing the other basic fundamental stuff. So I think that the responsibility starts from up top of the Khali. It starts from up top. And there lies no doubt if the teacher says no more classes, or no more questions, no live stream, and all this, the people will start what? The serious people would like, oh, snaps. Something's going on. Let us, you see what I'm saying to you? It's like a child. If you keep babying the child will never learn. If the child is disrespectful, and you give the child whatever the child wants after being disrespectful, they'll never learn respect. So oftentimes the responsibility begins and ends with the one up top, the parent or the teacher. As far as the questioner, then read the chapter of Sahih Bukhari about how the Prophet ﷺ disliked questions.
That's right.
And what's meant by that is not that it's haram to ask a question or dislike, because there are many hadiths to prove that. And other chapters in Bukhari to prove that as well. But the concept of over questioning, over theorizing things, all right? And this is a well-known piece of Islamic history with regards to the different schools of thought in Iraq and other parts, but specifically Iraq. You had Al-Kufa, the Kufi scholars, and you had those who followed other madhabs or Ahl Hadith, and what they would say about each other. And they were given a title and a term called Madrasat Ahl al-Ra'i, the school of the thinkers, or those who use their ra'i, their views and their minds. And some of them will call them ara'it, don't you see? Or what if, or what if, or what if? What if a worm comes out my ear? Or what if a cat falls into my water basin? Or what if, or what if, or what if, or what if? They will ask all of these hypothetical questions instead of just implementing and sticking to that. So oftentimes the person has to realize that this is a bad thing to do it too much. It's not a good thing. It's not praiseworthy and it's prohibited to go too far in asking certain questions that are just theoretical, let alone question which is practical, but you're not even what? Implementing. Number two is to realize that you're only making it worse for yourself. The more that you know and the less that you do, the worse your standing is on the end of the camera. You know more, you do less, it's not good for you. You're now making yourself what? In a very bad situation. Also, it's embarrassing and you're humiliating yourself. You're asking these questions, you're putting forth these questions, but you're not implementing the basic things. That person, I mean, how can you ever get any respect? You see what I'm saying to you? Last but not least is slow down. Reduce your intake. It's like eating. Your system, your body needs a break. You may be doing too many classes. It may be too much information that you're taking. Relax. Only take the class once a week, twice a week. Review. Write it down. Study the hadith, so on and so forth. Then get what? Back into the flow. Or the next step is that you have to just be selective. Sift through them. This is good, that's good, but I like this right here. For this month, I'm only going to focus on this one aspect. This year, I'm only going to focus on this one book. Do what's suitable for you and build a structure that you feel is actually tangible, that you can step on, like a stool or a chair. You know when you get in the chair and it feels what? You get down, it's like, this ain't sturdy. And then you step on it, what? You put your weight on it, it's okay, good, bismillah. You feel good on the ladder. So you have to make and construct a ladder that you feel is good for your weight and your movement. And the teacher can't do that. You have to do that what? Yourself, with the guidance and the help and the blessing of the teacher. So I think that it has to come from you not wanting to be a hypocrite, you not wanting to look like a fool, asking all these questions, sitting in this class and not benefiting, not actually come with something structured and tangible. And also, you have to look at that which is suitable for your own specific situation. Those are all keys, in my humble opinion, of ridding that problem that many of us have. Many of us, we have those problems. Along this line.
What is the ruling on giving tips to, let's say, company employees after they finish their work? Whether they ask for the tip or I give it myself without being asked for it. And please note that they receive a monthly salary from the company which they work for.
Right. Initials LH, right? From Jamaica, New York. What is the rule on giving tips to employees that receive monthly or weekly salaries, or they ask for a tip or not? Me personally, I don't feel there's anything wrong with giving a tip. I don't think it's haram or dislike to give a tip, especially in the United States, which is a part of the culture. It's known, it is acceptable, it isn't nothing hidden, it isn't nothing illegal, and it doesn't mean that you're going to get served faster or better. It doesn't mean that. Some people, they say you can't give a tip because it's ritual, they say it's bribery. Or some of them say that the people will give you better service, they'll put you before other customers, so on and so on and so forth. I would say, I don't agree with that premise. I don't agree with that premise. No disrespect to no one. I'm talking about the United States, I'm talking about the Middle East, I'm talking about right here. I don't agree with that premise. You may give someone a tip, you may never go to the restaurant again. You may never go to the airline again. You may never go to the barbershop again. So what's the harm? So that's out the window. Secondly, it's just because you give someone a tip doesn't mean they're going to oppress other customers. Doesn't mean that. Or even if they do put you ahead or give you a little extra, so on and so forth, it isn't something, in my humble opinion, in my experience, that comes at the expense of others. Because we have justice and then we have mercy. or justice and bounty. We have adl and we have fadl. You treat someone just, or justly, you treat someone what? Giving them extra virtue. So everyone is treated fairly, but there lies no doubt. This brother is my favorite companion, my favorite student. All of my children are treated fairly, but this one is more hard to work. He's wronged and oppressed. So everyone is waiting and everyone could go first or whatever. You're a paying customer, you're a tipping customer. I see you. Come on, I have a table for you. I didn't oppress anyone else, but I may have maneuvered or mixed a chair and made a specific table for you. You and the other people are all waiting equally. So it doesn't have to be an act of oppressing other customers and putting them forward just because they know that you're a good tipper. And we can't deny the reality of it. You're a good tipper, people don't forget that. Okay? That's a reality of life. So we're not going to play the fake piety card and act like that. That's not a part of the issue, because it is. I used to be a barber. People that give good tips, you take care of them, you look after them. But it doesn't mean that you what? Oppress others. If I take 10 minutes or 20 minutes to cut someone's hair normally, and this person is a big tipper, I take 40 minutes to cut their hair, or an hour. I'm not oppressing anyone. They still have to what? Still have to wait. There's no guaranteed time of how long it takes for me to cut someone's hair. There is no time limit of how you have to wait. You can wait for 10 minutes, you can wait for an hour. This is a brother who's getting a shape up. This is a brother who's getting this type of fade, getting this type of cut, and this type of cut may take longer. So this is a paying customer, a tipping customer. I put some love and some care into this haircut. Give him the nice smelling stuff, the special oils that are expensive and costly because he tips. Doesn't mean I'm oppressing the what? The other customers who sit in my chair. I don't have to take extra time on their heads. I don't have to give them extra special smell goods, the basic simple stuff, and that's not what? It's not oppressing them. Everyone understand this? Let alone that oftentimes people who work as workers in airports or restaurants or factories, they don't get paid that much. And they work a lot. And they have to deal with disgruntled people, grumpy people, cursing at them, saying bad things at them, rushing them, hurry up, I gotta go, my flight is coming. Picking up a heavy suitcase, here you go, give him a tip. He's working, he's standing out in the cold, taking your bags inside for you, give him a tip. You see what I'm saying to you? And I don't think that it's an issue in which the supervisor or the employee has any problem, rather they encourage it because they know that as an incentive for them to work harder and for them to be more professional and to them to be more customer friendly. Everyone understand this? So me personally, I don't feel there's anything wrong with giving a tip, whether the person is paid or not. And most people, they're underpaid. Oftentimes people get paid pennies, and they work like slaves, unfortunately. So give them a tip. It's a type of sadaqah. Let alone the fact that some waiters or servers, they go above and beyond. They help you out. They give you suggestions. Order this. No, the sea bass is better than the trout. This is the best fish today. This is the fresh one. This is, oh no, that's too big. You need a smaller one. That's not enough. They help you out. They bring you food. I gave you some extra biscuits. Huh? Everybody wants what? Extra biscuits. Everyone understand this? That's well known. That's ijma. Everyone's wanting what?
Extra biscuits.
No khilaf on that. So me personally, I don't feel anything is wrong with it. If it's an issue in which you're bribing someone and they're not doing their job properly and they're oppressing other customers and stealing because of the tip, then that's a what? A different story. And I don't think that that's no longer a what? A tip. That's now a bribe. If the waiter or the server went back and told his supervisor, hey, I gave these guys some extra biscuits, can you take it out of my check? And I'm sorry. You're like, what is wrong with you? Get out of my office. You're wasting my time. Matter of fact, you're fired because you're stupid. You're ruining business. We want to give the customers what? Extra biscuits. What is it? That's a trifle. 6 biscuits, how much does that cost to a happy and pleased returning what? Customer. It's going to come back and bring more people. You get fired. So the Middle East is not the United States. Are things the same in parallel sometimes? Of course. We don't go to that extreme either. But there are many things which are what?
Different.
Totally different. Oftentimes, and it's the last thing I'll say in this question, you may misinterpret or, misrepresent Islam by not giving a tip. Once we were in Tennessee, it was me, it were 2 of my children with me, and there was a bunch of brothers, maybe like 5 or 6 brothers, no less than 6, big brothers, hungry brothers, right? So they ordered this, they ordered that, my kids ordered this, bring me this, blah, 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 we were at the Red Lobster. So it was a lady there, she wasn't a Muslim, she was serving us, she was nice, she was cordial. So they sent to the kitchen 20 times, give me another soda, I want some more this, give me some more of that, give me some more kebab, please, 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 blah, blah, blah. And we were the last customers in the place. They started vacuuming the floor, folding up the tables and everything, so on and so forth. The brothers did not give a tip. They refused to give a tip. I told them to give a tip, they wouldn't take no money from me. They said, no, we're not going to do that. If you would have saw this lady's face, man, it went from a smile to a frown. She was mad, she was upset, and you can see that they just literally broke her spirit. She did all of that slave work, and it was like 6 or 7 people, 8 people, not a dollar a tip. And these brothers are big beards, Sajnamarts, Kufis, Shimas, the proper pronunciation, right? And they didn't give her what? Not a dinar. It's sad. I mean, the lady, she was about to curse at us like, you cheap Muslims. The next time she sees a Muslim walking down the street, what is she going to think? I'm not accepting that religion. They are cheapskates. But just imagine if the brothers give her a little bit of money, $10, $20, something. Been a better representation for what? Islam. Or even give her a tip and give her a pamphlet. Here you go. This is what Islam is about. Oh, thank you very much. You don't think this will have an effect on people? And Allah mentions that the zakat can be given to people whose hearts are what? Mu'allafa. People whose hearts are inclined towards Islam. You what? Give them money. You don't buy their faith, but money is an incentive. There's a powerful what? Incentive. You can't buy people's faith, but you show that Islam is what? It's about that life. We're clean, this, that, strong, honest, and we also what?
Got the cream.
Got that cheese. And we ain't stingy with it. And that's a manifestation of Islam. It's to be generous with what? And to treat people based off of how they what? How they treat you. So just be mindful of what? Be mindful of that. You may shatter someone's Islamophobia with the what? With a tip. Depending on what present you give them. We'll take a few, inshallah.
This was SM from London, UK. What is your opinion on people who say that all of the problems in the Ummah are caused by people deviating from the Athari Aqidah?
What do you say about someone says all of the problems in the Ummah today are people deviating from the Athari Aqidah? It depends on how what you mean by that statement. Aqidah is the foundation of everything, and then al-niyat, for sure. But that doesn't mean that people who have the correct Aqidah don't make sins. And sins aren't a means or a reason behind major problems being found in the Ummah today. Doesn't mean that. People with the correct Aqidah may make mistakes with regards to politics and other things, affairs of state. And those are also ingredients behind the problems that we face today in the Ummah. Alright? Okay? So, it's a yes and no answer. I have a gut feeling, I have intuition, I have a feeling of the atmosphere of the question. Someone with a defeatist spirit. There is no Islamic state, there's no jihad, there's no Muslim unity, there's no this, there's no this, there's no that, until everyone says this and does this. And he walked the specific tightrope of this scholar, of this group. In most cases, that's where that's coming from. I would say, we could argue all day. He brings his points, you bring your points. Like I said, Aqidah is the foundation. Niyyah is the foundation. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other problems. Doesn't mean that. Alright? That doesn't mean that. At the end of the day, history is the best proof. Between you and whoever should be history, what happened to the Muslims in the past? Were there victories? Were there dynasties? Were there empires? Was Islam supported? Were there triumphs? And who were the people behind these victories and these triumphs? All of them didn't necessarily have the what? Proper Athari Aqidah. That's not true, historically. That is not what? True. That is not true. On him, the Muslims should strive towards learning the correct Aqidah and spreading that correct Aqidah and practicing the things which are necessities of that correct Aqidah. And that is amal, and akhlaq, and the proper politics of Islam, the proper jihad about Islam, enjoining the good, forbidding the evil, the dawah of Islam. Is all of these things are fruits from the correct what? Islam what? Aqidah of the deen, of the athar. Alright? So that's the bottom line. And we are not to be defeatists and sit back and to just, twiddle our thumbs while things are going on in the world and say, oh, when the people get the right aqidah, things will change overnight. Things don't what? Don't work like that. And history has proven that and shown us that. Wallahu a'lam.
Which was OA from Riyadh, King of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum Mufti, could you please suggest a simple, easy explanation of Al-Lu'lu al-Marjan, something like Tafsir al-Sa'di for the Quran in English or Arabic?
Question is from Riyadh, KFC. Can you please suggest a simple explanation for Al-Lu'lu al-Marjan in English and Arabic? I don't know of any. Wallahu a'lam.
Shifai from Munich, Germany. Assalamu alaikum Mufti, is wearing niqab during ihram allowed? And if it isn't, does covering the face with your khimar and only leaving the eyes open take the same ruling as niqab?
Question comes from Germany. Is wearing the niqab allowed when a woman is in a state of ihram? Can a woman cover her face and only leave her eyes out? Is that the same? So on and so forth. The safest thing is not to wear the niqab when you're in ihram. Safest thing to do. Covering your face with a screen or veil or with some type of visor or baseball cap, which is not hugging on the face, stuck to the structure of the face. That's one thing. The best thing is not to wear the niqab, period. Whether you take your niqab off, or whether you do what many sisters do of having a veil that is semi-transparent, and it is being suspended from something like this, with a beak or bill, a hat. So it's not what? On the face. Everyone understand this? That's the best thing to do. As far as if you don't wear the niqab, and men pass you by, and you cover your face up like this, and you don't actually wear the niqab and it's very brief, then perhaps there's nothing wrong with that, either in that time, as is mentioned in the Athar of Aisha, radiyallahu ta'ala anha. Wallahu a'lam.
Next question, initials YQ from Toronto, Canada. What is your opinion on alpha male, concept of alpha male?
Question is from where?
Toronto, Canada.
Toronto. What is your opinion on alpha male? I feel that alpha male, of course, a large part of the concept is totally Islamic, without a doubt. There's no question about that. It's impermissible for a person to differ over that. And a large, not all, but a large part of the concept of alpha male is the traditional, old-fashioned way of even the non-Muslims who have some type of wholesomeness with them. The man is supposed to be the protector, the hunter, the gatherer, bring home the bacon. He is the protector of the house, of the hut. He goes out and brings back the animal on his shoulder. He does the burdensome labor in the household, so on and so forth. He has the say-so in the household. No doubt about that. Before whatever year in the modern world or the Western world, many non-Muslims never like this, and even to this day, in which there's the concept of alpha male. The father is in charge. Dad is the leader of the household. He leaves, he tells his older son, hold down the fort, son, you're in charge. Your mother is your mother. She's older than you, she gave you birth, she taught you everything you know. But there's certain things that the son is superior in over the mother. That's how it is, all right? So, the verses and the hadith regarding men being the qawamun, men being the leaders, kullukum ra'in, we've explained them, they're well known. That all supports the concept of alpha male in the deen. And in the original wholesome culture of the non-Muslims as well. As far as the things which I don't think are Islamically compliant, is the concept of some aspects of what is called chauvinism, in which there's certain things that a woman cannot do just because she's a woman. Not because she will do it in a bad way or in a poor manner, but just because she's a woman, she can't do it. And only the male can do it, only the man can do it. Not only is that wrong intellectually, scientifically, Islamically, but the concept of what happens when the alpha male isn't there. And if you're basing it off of the wolf culture, the culture of wolves, or other types of vicious and ferocious carnivores, then that's also wrong. Sometimes the female is the strongest dog, or the fastest dog, or the smartest dog. Huh? The female dog may be the one who's what? In the front of the what? Of the pack, as the mechanic told me, huh? He said, what? The pack follows the lead dog. Everyone understand this? So sometimes the female dog is the best dog. Sometimes the female lion is the what? The best hunter, the most skilled hunter. Or if the male isn't there to protect his harem, his pride, you go near that cub, you go near that small pup, and watch what the woman will do to you. She'll attack you viciously, fiercely. You understand this? So if it's only an alpha male, what happens when the alpha male isn't there? What happens when the alpha male dies in battle? When he's mauled to death, or beaten to death, or he freezes, or starves, or falls and drowns? Who's going to look after the little pups then? So the concept of only a man can do everything and this and that is sometimes it's harmful. It's harmful. And women can do certain things, they need to do certain things. But in Islam and in the culture of the people, there has to be a balance. And people have to know their roles. There's a balance, and then there's their roles, all right? So a woman can do this, but it doesn't mean that's the default. A man can do that, but it doesn't mean that's the default. All right? So the concept of a man doing this with the baby, a woman doing that outside the house, it can be done. But it doesn't mean that's the hustle. And it doesn't mean you're the most suited person for the job. Everyone understand this? So we have to understand this. So if you mean handling your responsibilities, handling your business, controlling, paying for the stuff, buying the stuff, take care of the stuff, tell you. But if you mean a chauvinistic, pig-headed person in which nothing makes sense unless you come up with it, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about, be quiet, I'm an alpha male, I'll do whatever I want to do, then obviously that's rejected, Islamically and worldly. And many men are like that, and oftentimes their alpha maleism takes them too far. And it leads to the harm of the pack. That's the most important concept of the alpha male is the benefit of the pack, the well-being, the welfare of the pack, nothing else. Not for your ego, but what's best for the rest of the dogs, or the rest of the wolves. Alright? So there's a balance, and there are certain things which I said I feel are correct with regards to alpha male concept, and I think there are certain things which are what? Totally erroneous and wrong, and Islamically rejected. And worldly, also what? Rejected as well in the animal kingdom as well. Wallahu a'lam. This will be our last question tonight. Maybe we'll defer in the meeting.
That shows MJ from Sydney, Australia. Assalamu alaikum. Question regarding women correcting the imam and the Quran recitation whilst in salah. Can this be done while praying with mahram or non-mahram?
Question is from Sydney, Australia. With regards to a woman correcting an imam in the surah. We know the imam is only to be a man when they're both sexes. When the women are by themselves, some of the ulama hold the view a woman can be the imam, not all of them, some of them. So therefore we have men and women, the imam makes a mistake in his recitation, He misses an ayah or a tajweed rule, call it, perhaps. And then a woman is behind the imam. What does she do? With a mahram or not mahram, etc. We have the concept of saying subhanallah and the concept of clap, whether it's this clap or clap like that. Allahu Alam, whenever the imam makes a mistake in the position of the salah, you say subhanallah. And if the imam misses an ayah or messes up, can't forget, then you actually make it fath alayh. You correct him verbally. You correct him what? Verbally. So one may ask the question, or one may say, if the Prophet ﷺ says, إِنَّمَا تَصْفِيقٌ لِلنِّسَاءِ, women are to clap, this proves that women's voices should not be heard in the presence of men. The presence of non-mahram men. One may say this. And one may also use this hadith to say that the voice of the woman is awra, whereas she doesn't even say subhanallah, but she claps. One may say this. But one may say, no, this is a specific issue, a specific ruling, and it does not mean that a woman who is memorized and learned cannot correct the imam. But the question is still hypothetical. And that is, how close will the women be to the imam who can't what? Who can't remember, no man can remember how far the women. Even when the men and women are in one musalla, the women are to be what? The furthest away. Everyone understand this? But hypothetically speaking, the sisters can hear, and then the imam can hear the what? The sister. Everyone understand this? I don't know of a specific prohibition of that. Making a mistake in the movements, different story. Making a mistake in the qira'ah or forgetting a verse, is, I don't know of any specific what? Prohibition, a text specifically saying that they cannot do that. Whether it is with a